interns there monitoring as well. So as you have your voice heard, as the chair spoke, we'll talk about that a little later. They'll be able to keep track of that as well. So going into second sub, and the reason why there's a second sub is we've worked really hard to try to get everybody that had concerns to hear their concerns and get them adopted into this piece of legislation that still maintains the integrity of what we're trying to accomplish. And there's really three main things that it does. One, it basically prohibits the use of vaccine passports in a public accommodation. So as you go to a store, they're not going to require you to show proof of vaccination. I've heard several times that this is not going to happen here. It's not going to happen in America. We're a free country. Try going to Washington State or go into California. Washington State, if you go anywhere, go to the movies, go to the grocery store, you have to show your ID and your passport. And when I think of that, I think besides Representative Matthews, most of you know Hogan's Heroes and Colonel Sergeant Schultz and where are your papers, right? And it just rubs me wrong that in America we have to show papers everywhere we go to prove what we are and who we are because someone's deemed it to be dangerous. We see that on Facebook, our language is now dangerous, and what else we're going to be banned everywhere we go. I think this bill, the reason I feel strongly about it is because this is the way that we have behaved in business for decades, like a lot more decades than I'm alive. We did not talk about people's personal health because that was private health information, and somehow in the last couple of years that P has become silent. We need to re-illustrate to people that our personal health information is just that. So the first part of this bill is the public accommodation. The second is the government entities prohibiting requiring of vaccinations or proof of vaccination with a card. And the third is the employer basically discriminating against someone because of the health choices that they have made. We've all gone through this. I think everybody understands what this is trying to illustrate, what we're trying to accomplish. There are some cutouts in it, higher education, public education, because we already have a system there that works well. They require vaccinations, but there is an exemption path. Same with higher education. There's some carve-outs with the hospitals, those that are involved with CMS, that there's some tied binding to Medicaid and Medicare funding that they're required to do. This is not to hamper business. In fact, most businesses that are here have all explained to me they don't want to be the healthcare police, and it's creating an additional burden onto them. They're there to do their business and let them do their business. There's one other piece that we put in just recently and why we have a second sub as well. It was those facilities that are dealing with hepatitis and tuberculosis, especially in sewage. So I think we want to make sure that our sewer plants are running the way they're supposed to. It also does apply to hospitals as well when they're dealing with fecal matter and that type of situation, that they can have a hepatitis shot that they can recommend and require. I think I want to let this open up for the committee mostly to ask the questions that they have so we can get to the meat of it and get through this quickly if we could. So that will.
From the federal government side, in the state government side, and even in the media particularly, I will tell you, I would not be at KSL radio or television today because I would not allow what is happening to happen. I mean, they'd have thrown me out a long time ago because to me there's two sides to every story, and we are getting the most fear-driven narrative I've ever seen. I invited one of my cohorts who anchors the news to lunch a couple of months ago, and I asked, and I shared a lot of information, the kind of information I'm sharing with you today. I shared this information, and they told me, I'll keep it generic, gender generic. They told me that this doesn't fit the narrative. We need to do the number of the counts of the number of positive tests, and we need to talk about the number of deaths. And my favorite line was, "We'll never accept, our newsroom would never accept this narrative. So there's no reason in coming and talking to the news people." And you are seeing it on every single media outlet. I will just tell you, and I know we're represented here today by at least one television station and a couple of newspapers, and I will be fascinated tomorrow to see if anything positive gets said in this meeting, how it will be reflected in our local media, because it is not happening.
That's fine, let's keep the germane to the bill.
Okay. Okay.
On script.
Okay, I'm back on script.
You wandered a little bit there.
And I'm wandering back.
Thank you. Bring it back.
It's on its way. The reality is that the legislature is doing a lot of these vaccine passport advocates. a big favor by passing HB60, because if a business can't ask the medical questions in order to be employed or conduct business, then they can't be sued. And I will tell you, if this became the law of the land, so to speak, I will be the first in line to file a lawsuit. I think this is so inappropriate to ask people and require people to share their medical information. It's nobody's business. And I think you have such an opportunity here to lead Utah the state that I believe we've always been, that we operate in a free economy and an opportunity to fulfill our, fulfill our dreams and do what it is we want to do in a economy.
Remember the AIDS days? I was in high school. We don't ask people about that. There's a lot of other things that are very contagious, meningitis and hepatitis, all these. We don't go around asking them to show that they're proof so we can communicate with them or go to eat or do whatever. This is a big deal about personal private health information. And in America, I truly believe that we honor everybody equally and we treat everybody equally. And sometimes we have to draw the line to say, this is where we are equal. Person's race, their gender, their status, if they're expecting or not, and their health information. And that concludes my presentation.
We help them with all of their bills. If their teeth is out of their head, we put them back in. If they wreck their car, we fix it. We pay for their education at UVU. And whatever corporate America is doing concerning food service, I pretty much go the opposite direction. I've had Governor Herbert in my restaurant probably 8 times. Cox has been in with his family twice. It's a great place. We want to grow a national chain. This is ground zero. And I'm a businessman. I left Colorado because I can't find employees to work over there. We've run 5 truck stops there for 40 years. And I came over here because the soil is very fertile. And one of the things that's really helping me right now is to be able to associate with people that see the value of small business. According to the Chamber of Commerce, we are the #1 driver of financial success in America. The business of America is business. And to be crass, money goes where it's treated best, and that's why I'm here in Utah. And I just want to address 3 things. Avoid business liability. I pay 17 different taxes right now for the privilege of being in business. I pay fees for boiler inspection fees, water treatment fees, license fees, 17 different taxes. It's a tough business to be in, but I love it. And I want to make a difference before I'm dead, and that's why I'm here, because this is the place to do it. One of the other things that I want to address, just really quick, because my time is really running out, I want to get back to normal. And that normalcy is this: I am essential. I am not non-essential.
Thank you, Jim.
That's it.
Appreciate that comment. Okay, we'll go next. Please state your name and, okay.
My name is George Wilkinson, and I have been a part of networking groups with a lot of small businesses for over 22 years. I sit on the board of directors of the Murray Chamber. I don't speak for the Murray Chamber, but I will tell you that knowing all of the other chambers for the last 20 years, I've realized that all the small businesses that we have out there are thinking that this government overreach is got to end, and this is one step right here to allow businesses to operate the way they want. When I was leaving a networking group today, there was about 30 or 40 people that I told them what I was coming here to do, and every one of them thanked me. I didn't have one single business say, oh my gosh, what a bad idea. So I really think that in so many ways that if we really keep our finger on the pulse of the 98% of businesses that are funding a lot of us, I think that we really have to understand those are the people we have to take care of. Those are the ones that have the little girl that, you know, she wants to have a dress for the prom, and now she can't because of all this government overreach that's happening. So I think that House Bill 60, I think, is a good step in the right direction. I think it also brings it back to the Constitution that we were all sworn to uphold. And within that, I think that once you vote this in, which I know you will, I think that you're going to realize that we've finally done the right things for the right people for the right reasons.
Every day I'm amazed at what business teams can solve. We can solve almost anything. But there are obvious problems we don't let the private market address. We don't try and punish criminals through the private market. We don't let companies issue driver's licenses. We don't let companies sexually harass their employees. So to my friends who oppose HB60 because you don't want government in our business, first, I agree. The rights of us as business owners are very real and critically important, but they are also only one half of the equation. So how do we balance the rights of businesses with the rights of customers? Well, the good news is we already know, because we do it every day. Every day we balance the rights of businesses to create, produce, and sell whatever we choose, wherever we choose, and operate just about however we choose, knowing that these rights simply exist alongside the rights of our customers. As business owners, we do not get to harass, attack, kidnap, rob, or otherwise deny our customers' basic rights just because we're operating a business. We've recognized this reality in the United States for over 150 years since creating the first protected classes. As business owners, we do not get a unilateral license to deny people basic civic rights just because we formed an LLC. My friends, it is a right of every citizen to not be barred from buying food or transacting with businesses simply because they made healthcare decisions that we disagree with. Our society's response to COVID has had significant tolls on Utah businesses, but Utah businesses are long overdue to be released from this madness. The time for COVID discrimination is over. It is over here in the US, and it is already over in many places throughout the world. We protected the vulnerable, we got to the vaccine, we are done discriminating against our fellow citizens, and for that reason, I strongly support HB60.
Okay, thank you for that testimony.
We're a 4PL brokerage firm, and we move products for our customers all over the country and all over the world. The byproduct of that is we have a smaller company called Trinity Express, which is a trucking company. Going back in history, years ago, when Desert Storm started, they increased our IFTA tax, which is a fuel tax. It went up 5 cents a gallon, and I remember at that time, we had to increase our rates and increase our service to cover that tax. The question was made when that was going to change. They said after Desert Storm was over, after the war was over, that tax would be taken off. That tax to this day has not changed. We are in an industry, like many other businesses, I feel like, are overtaxed. We have a tax, we have highway use tax, and we have fuel tax on every gallon of fuel in that we purchase, and we have to amortize that out for every state that we do business in. Long story short, there's been many things, and I spend a lot of my time in classes or education or trying to learn how to run our business, whether it's HR or CPA classes or those things. We as business owners, this is one less thing that we need, is to police whether our employees have been vaccinated or not. It is a choice, it is their choice. And with 30, maybe 40 employees, we have employees that are all over the spectrum, and employees have been worried if they're gonna lose their job if they get vaccinated or not. Where I'm going with this is at one time it cost us $2,000 to move a container out of China. That's upwards of over $12,000 now. In question of that, we talk to our customers and our team members that help with that. A lot of this they say is because of COVID. My question is this really because of COVID, increased costs, or is it a labor issue? If it's a labor issue, is this one more thing that's gonna increase labor issues for us to keep employees and keep our business going? I'm in favor of this HS60, and I'm a supporter of it, and I think it's something that needs to be considered very greatly.